So, welcome, 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 everyone, to the Women's Power Network. I am so excited to have Ramona here with us today. So, welcome, Ramona.
Hi, thanks. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here, and I can't wait to hear your story. So, as always, I always start off with the same first question. Can you tell us a little bit about your story and journey that led you to what you're passionate about today?
Sure. So I'll start with I did not know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I did not even know who I was. Okay, I did not know. I grew up with religious and cultural conditioning and survival sort of mindset and conditions for right into adulthood. So when I'm being told what a woman ought to be and kind of funneled down that way, and my body was already rejecting it, even though I didn't have the words for it. I didn't have a chance to really dive deep into what I wanted and what was possible for me. And it took actually 20 years of floundering around with random life experiences and jobs that I hated and, that sort of thing. It wasn't all bad, but it's not like, oh, yay, I found my purpose. No, not at all. It led me here. So like around age 40, I started to turn direction. So I shifted from part-time payroll job while my children were very small into I want to start a side hustle like my mom. My mom was an entrepreneur when all the odds were against her, and she showed me what was possible. So I started following in her footsteps around age 40. And I'll pause there if you want to ask me something. I don't want to just go on and on.
No, just go. I'll remember it. Trust me.
Okay. So initially, I asked my mom to help me because she had been part of bringing a large herbal wellness company into Canada at that time. It was a different world, no internet, right? Everything was different, but she was passionate about her work. And I saw that, and it just lit me up a part of me that actually, I want something like that. And so for a while, I started out trying to kind of follow her footsteps. But at some point, it just came to like a glass ceiling, and I couldn't just keep moving that direction. And I also intersected with some healing opportunities and recognizing that I was really white knuckling through life. I was holding on with this tight grip, which is fear driven, and also not really feeling safe to be seen truly as myself and let my armor down and my walls down. And that's trauma driven. I didn't even have the words for that at that time, but
Right.
I knew I needed to do something different and start enjoying things more, let go of the outcome more, and also stop being concerned with fitting in, belonging, or being accepted where it was probably not going to happen. So just let that go, right? So um, some some of you can probably relate, like the different opportunities presented themselves. So it's not like I figured out, yes, I'm going to go that direction and I went there. Absolutely not. Like I never envisioned what I would be doing now. No way, right? So
Right.
the right opportunities presented themselves. So I started to lean a little bit more into fitness. And at the time, I was coaching a weight loss program as well. But it kind of poked some holes in what I was seeing there. Is that women kept butting up against their emotions and being able to really prioritize themselves unapologetically without collapsing under the mental load and guilt. And I felt the glimmers of being drawn to being able to do deeper work with women because for me, it's really, really important that my work is impactful. I have to have an impact. I'm not interested in surface level fluff. No, no, I want your life to be somehow improved because of our time together. So that's when I became aware of personal empowerment coaching as because life coaching was kind of emerging on my consciousness. I'm like, well, this is interesting. So I jumped on board with that training at a time with the SWAT Institute, which is it's based on the emotional levels, which to me really spoke to me. It's not just about smart goals and setting structure. Those have their place, but what's underneath, right? The emotions. And during that time, it was a healing process. I was starting to heal the sister wound. So the horrible experiences I'd had with girls growing up, I was starting to heal that part of me to feel safer and see healthy connection being modeled with women, and embracing feminine energy, because patriarchal religion had caused me to really reject femininity. It felt so repressed. So I was just kind of clawing back parts of myself, and being able to soften that a little bit. And during that time in that coaching journey, I connected with the professor of the Gentle Trauma Release Institute, and they were just launching that international online school around that time. And she really saw my potential, because I couldn't truly see what I was capable of. And when I learned that there was a way to help women just like you and me, and the half the women we meet who are just doing the best they can and on the surface look like they're doing pretty good, but their bodies are falling apart, or they can't take care of themselves, or their relationships feel not reciprocal, or stuff's coming up that they don't like. I was just so connected to my body with a yes when I found there was an opportunity to be able to help women in this more deep-rooted, holistic way that makes it so accessible. It makes it not this big fancy thing, just you and me, and we're actually getting to a better place in a very short time. And that blew my mind and changed how I saw everything. So after having done this practice as a coach, a gentle trauma release practitioner, I was actually the first to emerge from that school of Canada. So I was the first Canadian to break through the finish line. And that has shifted my views of how I see my work and how I support women. So it's always from the perspective of creating safety in the body so you can expand into this new version of you that you're always evolving, right, rather than shrinking down and contracting, and adding in the pillars and the practices that support how you want to live in your life. So how you take care of your body, your relationship with food, those pieces come into play, and that's brought me to where I am today.
And there's so much to unpack.
There is.
There is, because one of the things, the first things that kind of came to mind is it. I don't think it matters if you were what religion you were raised in, or even if it was none. That you said, we were born into this male energy expectations of how women were supposed to be, and we had no tools, or it didn't feel okay to put ourselves first. We always had to put like everybody else first. And so we just swallowed our emotions, and some of us did it with food, or it could have been cigarettes or sex or whatever. And so to know, because there's no amount of willpower, you could be successful on a diet, right, for a little short time, but then there's a reset point, right, where you are emotionally, where you end up going back to. Is that, do I have that?
Absolutely. Like in one of the programs that I coach, it's called the Food Satisfaction Blueprint. It's for women who've, been on a lot of diets, and it's still causing a lot of noise in their brain and anxiety, and it's always swinging from dieting to starting over. So one of the terms that helps to explain that, it's the deprivation and indulgence scale. So our brain does not like scarcity. It does not like the threat of scarcity. So when our body is experiencing or anticipating scarcity, we're like, give me all the things. Give me all the things. I got to do it upright, because soon I'm going to be deprived. So that's why, motivation lasts a very, very short time, and we can only hold on for so long. So we go in the deprivation. So it's maybe counting calories, restricting, cutting out foods, living off coffee and hopes and dreams for the first 7 hours of the day, right? So broccoli and dry rice cakes. I mean, come on, right? So eventually you swing into indulgence, and like, oh, there's the Oreos. I'm going to eat 17 of them, right? You don't realize what's happened until you have like a blackout and they're gone, right? It's inevitable. It's not a character flaw. So I help women to master that middle ground, so they are actually in charge of themselves and have a plan forward, not just a positive attitude. It's we still want to live in a good feeling body and feel good and look good and move well without the endless restriction or the anything goes sort of approach.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I have a friend that It's always telling me about the latest fad, the latest diet, the foods you should eat or shouldn't eat. And what I witness is a lack of self-worth and a lack of self-love because it's never enough and it's always in progress.
Yeah.
It's like you don't get to a place where you're at peace with yourself as you are right now before you go forward. And it sounds like all the tools and training that you have help a woman heal all that emotional baggage that they probably don't
Immensely.
even know they're carrying around.
No, immensely. And it doesn't take as long as you think. People think it's always going to be a real hard grind. I got to unpack all this. No, you don't. No, you don't. You can experience very profound shifts and a change in trajectory and how you feel in your body, how you see the world, and how you see yourself in literally weeks. Because we're working with our unconscious nervous system. And what happens is initially our survival brain's running the show. We are not creative, resourceful, or resilient. It doesn't work that way. Our body, we resolve within the body what it's bracing for. And that's part of my work. We sort that together. It's my job. But you see things differently right then, like within minutes, you start to see things differently because your creative, resourceful, resilient mind comes to the forefront. The one you've always had, but it's just been stuffed down under survival, and your body relaxes. You stop with, and then you can make choices that support how you want to live.
From my own personal experience too, when I get in the right mindset, there's no willpower. It's just an automatic thing. I don't know how to explain it, but I've recently experienced it where I don't have to effort. I want to do these things. I enjoy doing them. And I've cut, I eat smaller portions. I still eat the same foods, but smaller portions. I'm blessed that I don't have a sweet tooth. I'm not one of those. But give me a potato chip and I'll show you an addict.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've shifted into more of the identity phase, which is where we need to go, right? So if we're going to, what I find is overlooked quite often in the fitness, diet, and wellness industry, especially aimed at women, is do the things, do, perform, try, strive, push. But your unconscious identity is absolutely not on that bus. No, that is not who I am, or not what I'm worthy of doing, not what I'm capable of doing, not what I want to receive, or this feels like I'm being controlled and pushed, and so I'm going to push back and eat the Oreos. So it's when you become that version of you. Yes, there's a little bit of motivation, like you got to lace up your shoes before the walk, or you got to, put the chips away before the family size bag is gone. But it's sometimes you're doing something that's easier not to do, but you're doing it out of self-love because this is who you are and this is what you do now. So the endless decision fatigue goes away.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, and I literally, it was when my husband passed away, that was my drug of choice was potato chips. And they were not healthy ones. I don't know if there's such thing as healthy ones, but I buy ones that, only have like 2, 3 ingredients in them and not anything I can't pronounce. Um, and I would always have the bag open by the time I got in the car, and they were half gone by the time I got home. And I was chuckling to myself because they made it on the shelf and sat there for over 24 hours, and I still hadn't opened them. And it was funny, I didn't notice it right away. It was the next morning when I got up and I put it where it's not like out in front of me in the counter, it's like under a shelf. And I kind of glanced and I went, oh, I forgot I had those. Oh, wow. I didn't even open them. Cool.
Yeah, it's a big
So,
difference when they don't have that illicitness to them. It's not this forbidden, emotionally charged. It's just a thing. I can have some chips or I could not have some chips, and it's not this, enormous emotional roller coaster. I was joking with one client about her emotional support chips.
right.
But yeah, it's such a difference because then you feel like you have autonomy again. You can have some chips, but You don't need to eat the whole bag because you're not starting a diet Monday.
Right. Or just for me it's stress eating. It's it's the hand to mouth that I didn't even wasn't even conscious. That's why I didn't know how many I had ate by the time I got home and that bag was half empty. I
Mm.
remember being envious of my cousin. She had recently retired and she loved potato chips as much as I did. And we were talking and she says, yeah, I put 18 chips in a bag and I allow myself to have 18 chips a day. And so I tried that in the beginning, but I hadn't made the inner shifts or change. And so I made it one day. And then the second day I had two bags and I was 18 chips.
It's like,
And I'm like, okay, this is not working for me.
no, it didn't work so good. Plan B.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So it's really, this is really interesting because there's like a million advertisements out there about gut health and menopause. And, it's like I can see where it's like extremely overwhelming. And to be able to work with someone like you that gets in touch with the person and what is going on with them and dealing with the emotions underneath it, the subconscious underneath it, how powerful that is to weed through, it's just insane. And
It
those,
just clears the way, right? So quite often when I connect with women, what I hear is I've just been working on myself so long, right? I just keep working on myself and I'm so tired and it's getting harder and harder and harder and harder. And I just want to like myself again. Or I don't know who I am, especially after a big life transition. So it's so nice to kind of clear the way so you can breathe, you can think, you can see yourself with a more positive regard, um, and start to notice what actually you're drawn to now, because you're going to evolve into another version of you. Like your essence of you is there, but a lot of you is fluid. She just needs to be nurtured and developed and have the courage to, step into discomfort at times.
it is. And just to get underneath all that conditioning, that unconscious conditioning that all of us have been subject to.
Yeah, and I like to encourage women to really thank their bodies because whatever behaviors they've been repeating that they're judging or frustrated with or bashing themselves about, why didn't I blah, 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 blah. It's remember your wise body adapted to what it needed to do, usually starting from a young age, even when your brain was still developing. Even if other people had it worse than you, that's literally irrelevant. Um, your wise body did its very best to keep you safe, protected, belonging, included, whatever it was. So you got to, give some love on that part of you that was wise, and also give that part of you some love to take rest and not try to keep running the show because you're now equipped to do so.
It's funny you say that because I just unconsciously, or not unconsciously, but when I looked at the mirror and we had talked about after my husband died, I gained quite a bit of weight. And I'd rub my belly like Buddha and I would just say, I love you so much. Thank you for putting up with me and abusing you, you know, and keeping me going. So even when I wasn't pleased with what I saw, I thanked my body uh for functioning so well in spite of itself.
Yes, and that's so much more helpful because your body really does receive what you're thinking and saying about yourself. So I tend to, in a good humored way, even help women to course correct when I catch them saying things about themselves. Well, I'm not very good at blah, 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 and I need to fix these bat wings. I'm like, maybe we're going to say that a little bit differently, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
I invite them to consider another way to speak to and about their body.
I mean, I feel like that's the biggest battle right there is how we talk and think about ourselves.
Yeah, it drives our decisions, behaviors, boundaries, sense of self identity. So that's usually where, when I'm working with someone, we get curious what's underneath that. It's trauma in some way. And trauma is simply distress without resolve. So, what is your body? What is unresolved to your body? It doesn't always need to be something really obvious or textbook trauma. That's, again, entirely irrelevant. Although you'd be amazed how many times an incredible skeleton comes out of the closet when a woman is in a safe place to do that, and I'm able to get her relief and to a different place with that. So I really honor that.
So we were talking earlier. I noticed I was envious of your room back there, and I had asked if that was an image or a physical room because you never know anymore. And so, women who think and maybe looking at your room there, you want to talk a little bit about that it's not necessary to have a room like that or even a gym membership?
Yeah, I think it's important that, I mean, at the root of it, we need to support the body you want to live in, and in a way that you can do it, right? So if you're trying to force something that you hate, it's not going to stick. You'll find a way out. So a lot of the women I connect with are over 45, 55, and into their 60s, and they really want that quality of life. So in my small space here, I'm in a small community, and some people train in person, but I do connect online with women. And it's really important, I think, to find a coach who understands your needs as a woman, especially in midlife, because I've had times that women have just felt like, well, that trainer was okay, but they didn't really get me, right? And unless they've had extensive training and experience in menopause, a 25-year-old dude is not going to fully understand your experience. And so I bring that to my work so you feel seen, heard, understood, and I know how to help you progress. Kind of sneaky that way. I know how to help you progress. So for women who are doing strength training at home, strength and mobility, it's very accessible with minimal equipment. And I mean, if you aspire to have a home gym, for some women, that's like a hashtag goals, go for it. Like, this is just my converted garage and I train clients. So yeah, I want some stuff here. It's more fun for them. But even now, moving forward, if I was ever not training clients, I would want some kind of a space to myself. But literally, it used to be my living room, the TV on the wall, YouTube. This is before I was a trainer. My husband on the couch with his feet up eating chips going, that looks hard. And I'm like, shut up and get out, right? Until I'm done, like literally get out, right? So and when my kids were little and I had no time, I was working full time, I would get up and do Taibo VHS videos in the morning, right? But what I love to do for women is take the mystery out of it. Because, you know, do you really want to sit there and dream up your fitness plan? Or do you want someone to take the helm and guide you so that you progress? That's the direction I like to take. It doesn't need to be a miserable experience. And I don't ever ask women to do burpees. That is an absolute no, non-starter.
What, not to do what?
Burpees. Do you know what burpees are?
No.
Oh, well, you are a fortunate soul. It's these ridiculous boot camp inspired exercises. And if you're going into the army, feel free to do burpees. But it's where you're standing up and you drop to the ground into a push up and you jump back up in front into a squat and leap into the air. And like, I mean, I'm 5'11". This giraffe body does not fling on the floor and jump up into a squat. Every woman I've talked to, when they're asked to or pressured to do something that they hate, they disengage. They think this isn't for me. And I want the opposite. I want you to feel like I'm fully worthy and capable of falling in love with what my body's capable of doing and supporting this precious vessel that I live in so I can do really fun stuff.
You know, and that's a good point. And I found that in myself. I resist having a coach, especially male coaches, because they have that old belief of no pain, no gain. And
Awesome.
at my age, I'm like, yeah, no, thank you. I'm
Yeah.
not into that. I don't care if it takes me an extra 3 weeks to hit some milestone. I'd rather enjoy it and do it than wake up just miserable and sore and hurting. Not that, I mean, I have found some muscles I haven't used in a while, and the next morning I'm like, oh, okay, but it's not, extreme like usually it is,
No, that's absolutely not necessary and actually detrimental. So, like, I went through in perimenopause, my body was like, it was just kind of going haywire is like whack-a-mole with the symptoms and the musculoskeletal issues that came with that. Really threw me for a loop. And I was, at that time working out. So it would have been even harder if I wasn't. Um, but I would encourage women to dismiss or really hold up in the light and question the beliefs that have been foisted on them or that they've adopted through osmosis about their bodies, and what strength and mobility actually means. Does mobility mean being able to put your ankle to your ear and doing yoga if you don't like yoga? No, it does not. Does strength training mean endless pain, no gain, training like a 25-year-old dude? Absolutely not. Like some of the clients I work with have rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune conditions, and or COPD and use oxygen. They're still lifting weights like a queen. So we find a way to work with you, and that's what's really important.
It is, and I appreciate you saying that because there is that old conditioning, and I think that's why a lot of women don't like exercising because we have this preconceived idea that have been male oriented and been implanted in us, for decades. So I appreciate this new approach. Not that it's really new, but it's gaining momentum of learning how to honor our bodies, our limitations, and where we are, and that there is something that we can do regardless of the condition that we may presently be in.
Absolutely.
I love that. So if somebody's intrigued by this and they want to connect with you, how can they connect with you? And do you offer a free consultation?
I do. So any woman listening, I will only ever invite you to work with me if I understand your desires and what challenges you're experiencing, and I feel like we're a good fit to help you move towards a better result that you want. If not, I'll help you think about your next step. So it's going to be us leaning in, going, yes, I want to work with you, and yes, she wants to work with me. So you can connect with me on socials if you want to just see one of the stuff I put out there. So under the major socials, it's Ramona K Coaching, except LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn, it's under my name, Ramona Kossowan. And I have two major websites. So one is kind of like the whole shebang, ramonakcoaching.com. And I have one very specific to the gentle trauma release method. So just diving a little bit more into how I support women and sometimes men with this type of coaching. So that is called gentletraumacoach.com. And of course, a free call. This is a free call is just about understanding what's going on for you, what's coming up. Is there something I can invite you to or point you to that will support your next step? And I do have a free resource if you'd like me to share that.
Okay, well, I want to let the audience know that we'll be sure to put all these links and information down in the comments after this interview. And I've really enjoyed having you here. And it's just so refreshing to hear somebody work with women and honoring their bodies and where they're at now. And I keep wanting to say in a new way, but it's just refreshing,
Yeah, it's not standard yet, I don't think.
No.
Right. So it is refreshing and might seem new, but what I would leave with you is you're worthy of feeling powerful in your life and just seeing your worth. So not only just walking around, yeah, I like myself, but actually showing yourself that you like yourself all the time.
That's beautiful. Well, before we go today, is there any parting words of wisdom that you would like to share?
Well, what I would invite you to do is if you're really a high functioning woman, a lot of women I connect with are, and I bet a lot of the listeners are, is notice what feels draining, heavy, empty, or like a compulsion, like I just can't seem to stop existing this way. And start to invite yourself to live, add little more glimmers of joy into your life, because part of healing is just in the living. So maybe it's you want to start doing jigsaw puzzles. Maybe you want to take singing lessons or Latin dance or ride a horse, right? Or learn a language that seems selfish, unnecessary, or not useful in some way. That's the whole point. And just invite yourself, because those little connections to your real self and your creativity will kind of open your eyes to what else is possible. You are meant to have fun in this life and not just work.
That's beautiful. Well, Ramona, thank you so much for being with us today, and I hope to see more of you.
Thanks so much.